The ACLU says that the Trump administration has separated more than 900 migrant children from their parents at the U.S. border, even though a judge had ordered the government to stop that practice a year ago. In a federal court filing Tuesday, ACLU lawyers argued that the government was still separating families, quote, based on such offenses as traffic violations, misdemeanor property damage, and disorderly conduct violations, and asked the court to block the Trump administration from continuing the practice. According to court documents, a 4-year-old boy was separated because the father's speech impediment prevented the father from answering CBP's questions. In another case, a child was separated from his parents over, quote, malicious destruction of property valued $5, for which the man received a 6-day jail sentence and 6 months probation. Well, joining me now to talk about all of this is Lee Gellert, the lead attorney in the family separation lawsuit, deputy director of the ACLU's National Immigrants' Rights Project. Lee, it's good to see you again. What is going on here?
Yeah, this is really amazing. I mean, last summer, as you know, we blocked the family separation policy, and the judge laid down a very, very narrow exception consistent with the way we handle child welfare cases throughout the country, which is if the child is in imminent danger from the parent or the parent is genuinely unfit or a danger based on objective evidence, you separate the child. I mean, we said to the judge, of course we want the child separated if there's genuine evidence of danger. We now find out from the government's own records that more than 900 children have been separated since the court's injunction, and far from a narrow exception, the government's basically driven a truck through the exception and said, we're going to separate for any criminal history, even traffic violations, as you said, misdemeanor theft offenses that don't remotely suggest the parent is a danger to the child. I mean, can you imagine if in the United States, every parent lost their child if they committed some traffic offense or misdemeanor offense years ago?
And in fact, there are examples. For instance, a 1-year-old child was separated because the parent was, or the child was still recovering from illness, and that they wanted to let her sleep instead of waking her to change her diaper. A female guard then took the daughter out of his arms, criticizing him for not changing the diaper, calling him a bad father. The guard then separated the man and the infant. The government's own documents show the man had no other criminal history. How does that happen?
Right. I'm glad you raised that example, because the larger issue is that these are law enforcement officers with no child care experience, no child welfare experience, making these unilateral decisions. Some guard decided, well, I would have changed the kid's diaper. The parent made a decision that almost every parent would have made. The child had been very sick, needed to sleep, and the parent was going to wait till the child woke up before changing the diapers. The guard decided, that's not right. I'm going to take this child away from the parent. And so these are unilateral decisions being made by law enforcement with no process to push back, and we're not getting information about these separations in order to push back. What's happening is basically just the administration is saying the court blocked us, but we'll find some way around it so we can continue to separate these kids. And what we found out is that these kids are even younger than last summer's kids. 20% of them are under the age of 5. I mean, this is a situation where the administration is doing everything they can to separate rather than to keep families together, notwithstanding the medical evidence showing that we're basically doing permanent damage to these little children.
And when are you going to get a hearing on this?
Hopefully soon. I suspect it's going to be, at the beginning of September. But what we'd really like to see is the government alter their policy on their own. They don't need to wait for a court to tell them not to. We've presented the evidence. They know what they're doing. And given the pushback, we'd like to see the public outcry we saw last summer, and the administration stop doing it even before the court hearing.
Well, let's see. As you know, Julia Ainsley and Jacob Soboroff and our whole team has been all over this. You have been a wonderful contributor and guest, so let's stay on it.
Thank you.
Lee Gellert, thank you so very much, and we'll be right back.